Did you call someone else?
Go ahead. No.
Okay.
No.
Richard Feinberg. I think, I don't know how to say this. I'll try to say it as gracefully as I can. I think we're really missing the economic imperatives. They should not be imperatives. We need to find a way to check the system. And even the view that the regulatory framework, we're not going to have the financing, I can sympathize with that, but we're not going to get anywhere until we communicate to the public the horror of when the Swiss cheese holes all line up, or whatever you want to use. We're all playing with a system that is flawed. I don't know you two gentlemen on the right side of the panel. I don't wish to be negative, but I've got to say, overall, for all of you, the economics drive it. I see it on the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, which is so well funded, still does not measure up. We have to figure out how to change the system. And one way to do that is shut up.
Let's see. I saw another back earlier.
One more, and then we have to go to break. Was there one
Let's
more?
see, Michael, I think, all the way in the back there.
I don't know if this would fit better with this session or one of the next one on inspections, but I'm curious that on the integrity management that sometimes I see pipelines through the both newspaper articles about failures and the PIMSA reports that some pipelines get blindsided on some issues. They think, well, we've never had an ERW failure in recent history or at all, or we've never had stress corrosion cracking, or we've never had a girth weld problem, then all of a sudden they start developing. And I'm just wondering if the future IMP 2.0 will look at being more broader and looking for some of these things that could be happening.
I don't know if Larry or Andy. And Jeff can feel free, but it sounded more like
it's a
industry.
Yeah, I don't know that I can speak to IMP 2.0. I think that even in IMP 1.0, there's a lot of specific criteria that folks are supposed to be using to evaluate. You know, I think one classic, you know, is I'll even take it on is the word stable associated with material threats. That word is qualified very heavily in the ASME standard. If you read it, it says, in the absence of knowledge that the pipe, was manufactured as pipe, is tested as pipe, you must assume it is not, and it is no longer considered qualified to be stable. Or if the environment that it operates is dynamic, including fatigue, it cannot be considered as stable. I think there's a whole host of those kind of issues that are in the standards that maybe weren't the accented syllable of all of the operating community, or even maybe all the regulatory community. But I think what you're trying to see is people, for better or worse, you can't focus on everything. I don't want to give people a pass here, but the first tranche, I think, of integrity management was very focused on third-party damage and corrosion. Wrongfully so, rightfully, we can pass judgment on that all you want. But people put a lot of energy into that. And I think they didn't put as much energy into some of the other threats, interactive threats and some of the material threats, and really understanding how to get ahead of some of those things. I don't know that I wouldn't say that all people didn't, but I think 2.0 is probably a lot more about clarifying some of these other threats, making sure that people understand what the basis of those threats, characterization, how to manage them is, getting proactive about it, understanding interaction a lot more deliberately. And we tried to touch on that. Certainly this is a much longer discussion than a 15-minute discussion, but I think those are the kind of things that are out there. I think there's things that we know, and then there's, I think, things that we actually have to improve upon, get more clarity on.
And I think that's about all the time we have. We need to turn the room over. So thank you, and we can continue this over drinks later. Thanks.
Thanks. We're going to take about a 10-minute break, so let's try to get back at about 10 after. In this room, there's going to be a landowner discussion. In the other room,